Hello and welcome back to Tima Ballers podcast. I'm very glad to be back on. Lots of interesting things to discuss from Premier League game week 3. So obviously, let's get right into it. First of all, just a quick note, I do sound ill. Sorry for that. I caught a cold again. But obviously, let us that not distract from, of course, the Premier League. An interesting week with some big games, big results, lots of fan opinion and debate. Let's get right into it. Obviously, the first big game, arguably the biggest game in the Premier League, is of course Manchester United playing arch rivals Liverpool at Old Trafford. With a very thorough and resounding win for Arne Slot as Liverpool take all 3 points 3-0 at Old Trafford. It's yet another clean sheet for Arne Slot, which makes it 3-3. Liverpool are now second place in the league with 9 points. Manchester United all the way down in 14th place with only 3 points after 2 consecutive losses for Erik ten Hag. Now, let's get into the game, right? What a game that was. A very interesting game. Look, the scoreline doesn't really tell the full story because actually Liverpool could have had more goals. We missed quite a few chances. Szoboszlai missed a big chance. Salah missed a chance. Jota. So it could have been worse. I mean, credit to, I think, particularly De Ligt. He did some pretty good defensive actions. Pretty strange why he got taken off. But Manchester United could have had a historic defeat. And they instead ended up with a embarrassing defeat. Well, I'm sure Erik ten Hag is still very, very angry, of course. It was watched on by all the Man United fans, by Sir Alex Ferguson, of course by their new owner, Sir Jim Ratcliffe, who seemed to be in slight disappointments watching his team, the club that he literally bought, be absolutely obliterated by Liverpool. And the game itself, I would say this, what's interesting is the possession was actually more on United's side. If we actually look at the possession stats, it was 53% for Liverpool. Sorry, 53% for Manchester United. Quite surprising because Liverpool were relentless. They had, obviously, Liverpool way more chances, way more goals. United had they had 3 shots on target, 5 shots off target, but they weren't of a very high quality. The biggest chance being for Xerxes. But other than that, not really that many chances. Maybe also 1 chance for Mazraoui. But other than that, Man United did not really ask any questions in terms of attack. But Liverpool, on the other hand, scoring 3 goals, could have probably had a penalty at the end. Quite a clear penalty kick on the leg of Cody Gakpo. So, realistically, it should have been a penalty. For some reason, it wasn't brought to the attention of VAR. But other than that, Diaz, obviously, 2 goals. What a performance by him. He had a tough game against Ipswich. He missed a big chance, but then he scores a goal as Brentford, gets an assist, man of the match against Brentford, and now look at that. He gets 2 goals against Manchester United. 2 very good goals. I think the positional awareness and the finish for the second goal. Mo Salah, this guy's incredible. He's actually sensational. Like, take away all the bias, he is phenomenal, actually. You talk about the fact that this guy has now gotten, He's got not only 3 goals, but he's also got a bunch of assists. And that is mightily impressive. Like, we've got to credit Mo Salah where credit's due. This guy is really, really good. I mean, look, what a performance, what a game. And of course, so many things to talk about. What the implications are of this game. For Arne Slot, it is 3 wins in 3. It's 3 clean sheets. You could not envisage a better start to the season for Liverpool. It literally is almost perfect. And of course, Gravenberch, phenomenal number 6. He was all over the pitch. Honestly, I think he's a major candidate for man of the match. He had the incredible performance, putting the tackles, applying pressure. He was literally everywhere, literally all across the pitch. I've got to also credit Kanate and Van Dijk, good defensive action, very solid defense, and Alisson Becker, the absolute legend, making an excellent stop from Xerxes. Great reaction save. So for Liverpool, it is more confidence in Arne Slot. Title challenge talks are back. Actually, interesting thing here, going into the game, right? People were always talking about but it's Arne Slot, it's a new system, question marks, he's going to take time to adapt. Liverpool are nowhere near Arsenal and Manchester City. Manchester United is a big challenge, we'll see what happens. Now that we've absolutely obliterated them 3-0, it's more like now the narrative is different. Now the narrative, which I'm hearing from some people from TalkSport, is it's not really a big challenge. Man United are a terrible team anyways, it's not really a challenge. When you play Man City or Arsenal, that's the challenge. Right. So first you're saying it's a challenge, and now it's not a challenge because we beat them. Do people not realize that Man United played badly because we played well? It's not like we only won because they lost. No, we won because we were better. We were the better team. We created chances, we had the moments, and we won the game. So stop trying to demean this performance and belittle it as if United just gave up. No, they tried their best and we beat them. We were better. Arne Slot tactically obliterated Erik ten Hag. We swamped the midfield. We overran Casemiro. We capitalized on all United's errors. We took chances. The link-up play was excellent. The passing was excellent. The backline held its line well. And guess what? We win 3-0. So I don't get this whole kind of argument that it's not a big challenge. Playing away to your rivals who you would not... We haven't beat them last season. 3 times we played them. Twice at Old Trafford. And Ten Hag beat us once, so we had 2 draws. So, no, very good results. And for Ten Hag, big issues. Obviously, big questions being asked. Look, 2 losses in a row. If this continues after the international break, him and Dyche are favourites to get sacked. And I'll be honest that he barely kept a job, obviously, after the FA Cup final win. But now things are looking bad again, because if he can't get this team together, if he can't actually build and start doing something, it's year 3 and another year of big question marks. You can't finish 8th in the league and then do that again and keep your job. No, I think that Ineos's patience will definitely wear thin quite soon if Ten Hag doesn't bring it around. He needs to bring the team together. The first problem, which I would say probably is not his fault, is what on earth is Casemiro doing as number 6? Like, that performance was ridiculous. He gave the ball away for fun. He was terrible, he was slow, it was an absolute mess. I honestly do not understand what on earth was Casemiro doing. With all due respect, he is indeed a Champions League winner, but then his wife posting the trophies after the game is just like, look, you are a great player, you've won great things, but you just had a horrible performance. Alright, the fact that you won things in the past doesn't change the fact that you clearly had a very bad game. Question marks over Ugarte coming in quite late. Ten Hag making some very interesting comments after the game, saying that Ugarte might take weeks or even a month to get back to full fitness. So we're talking about a situation where Ugarte might not even be starting for United in the coming weeks. Realistically, not having a DM was probably Man United's biggest problem, because Casemiro has massively underperformed. This game, the biggest problem for United was DM. Because Kobbie Mainoo has been, this guy's having to run across the entire pitch to cover for Casemiro. Bruno's not doing the pressing. The whole midfield's overrun. You got these gigantic gaps in midfield, which Casemiro simply cannot cover. And hence why Man United were overrun, lost the midfield battle, and got absolutely obliterated after every single mistake they made. And they did make a lot of mistakes. He was giving back the ball. He was giving the ball away a lot. And obviously Mainoo had a bad game, but I wouldn't blame Mainoo that much because he's still quite young and he's having to do basically 2 people's work, having to cover up for Casemiro, who is obviously not as good as he should be. He's not quick enough. He doesn't offer enough pressing and winning the ball back, and his passing is terrible. So big problem for United. Question marks of why they took so long to sign Manuel Ugarte, only to then pay basically what Paris Saint-Germain were asking for, but get the signing in quite late. Maybe if you brought him in earlier, perhaps you would be starting your season differently. And then De Ligt and Mazraoui also brought in a bit late. They're probably not fully up to speed. It will take time for them to learn the team and to get fully understand the Premier League and play well. So yeah, big questions over Erik ten Hag in particular. Obviously his tactical decisions, starting Marcus Rashford and keeping on the entire game. Then Garnacho comes off. Ahmad, the guy who scored the goal last time, your player who's actually very good, is now being benched. So very strange decisions. And the way he came out after the game, right? Not only has he just lost 3-0, not only has he just had an embarrassment at home, this guy then goes to the press conference and starts talking about, I had 3 players who were doing a full 90. I'm sorry for you. We came second. Didn't we win the second most trophies after Manchester City? Yeah, okay, terrible accent interpretation, forget that. But the point being is, you've been embarrassed. You've been absolutely embarrassed by your rivals. Rather than going out there and being honest and apologizing and saying it's a disaster, I've made mistakes, this guy tells the reporter, he literally tells the interviewer that, I feel sorry for you, we've won the second most trophies after Manchester City. Bro, you're not the second best manager in the Premier League. You are miles away from Arsenal and Liverpool. What are you on about? How long will you talk about these cups? It's like everything he does wrong, he says cups. We're not talking about the cups, man. We're talking about the Premier League. This makes absolutely no sense. It's like, imagine if, hypothetically, I were to do terribly on all my final year exams. And when I'm asked by the academic director, saying, what is going on? Why are you doing so poorly? I'm like, well, I did well in the group project. That's not relevant. You failed your final year exams. You can't progress the next year if you're failing all your major exams. Same thing with Erik ten Hag, man. You can't fail the Champions League, bottle the Europa League, finish 8th place in the Premier League, and then stand up and say, well, we won 2 cups. Well, fantastic for you. Congratulations, you won 2 cups. You're going to get sacked anyways. I mean, bro, doesn't take much research. Go back, look at Louis van Gaal, won the FA Cup, still got sacked. So no, the FA Cup will not protect your job. Very, very questionable remarks there. Now, moving on to the Chelsea Palace game, which I actually attended live. Went in there, obviously as a neutral fan, I wanted to watch the game. Good atmosphere, but obviously lots of frustrations at the end. Yeah, I mean, Stamford Bridge was quite nice, I'll give it to them. It's a nice place. Obviously, the fans were quite vocal throughout the game. But in the end, it was a very, very frustrating performance. Chelsea were phenomenal creating chances. I saw Madueke making those runs on the right hand side, but then he missed them. Then Cole Palmer had a decent chance. Then also later on, Joao Felix, Nicholas Jackson at the end. 2 big chances right at the end to win it. And again, they miss it. Questions marked are asked over Chelsea. Seriously, what are you doing not signing Victor Osimhen? Like, please explain. If you wanted Osimhen, just pay him the salary he wants. When you spend so much money on transfers, when you spend so much, surely the main guy is your priority. You spend so much money on these players, on Joao Felix, on Kieran Dewsbury-Hall, on Philip Jorgensen, on Mike Penders. You're signing 2 keepers for some reason. You're signing Joao Felix. You don't need Joao Felix. You needed Victor Osimhen. Why are you making these ridiculous signings when they're not really what you need? You're just stockpiling talent. And now you got Jadon Sancho. There's no sense of direction. You need a clinical striker. You need someone to score your goals. For some reason, Nkunku is on the bench. He isn't getting many minutes. No idea what's happening there. But who is going to score your goals? Madueke, Neto, Palmer, Fernandes. They'll create the chances, but who will score them? I mean, it's just ridiculous. You can't spend £1.3 billion and not properly invest in a top-class striker. Bizarre. Completely bizarre. And the game overall itself is kind of symbolic of what Chelsea are. Score 6 away, lose to Servette, draw at home, and miss chances. I said in my predictions, I think that's how Chelsea season will look like. They'll go in there, produce a masterclass, then they'll go lose to some random team, and then they'll have more frustration at home. That's now a loss and a draw at home for Enzo Maresca. Once again, the theme being missed chances, just like with the City game, missing the chances, not capitalizing on big moments. Clearly, Nicholas Jackson is not a top quality number 9. He's a decent player, he scored a good goal, it's happened, but you need a proper striker. That is the lesson I'm taking from this game. Obviously, take nothing away from Eberechi Eze with a wonderful goal. What a beautiful goal that was. But now, let's now move on to Arsenal-Brighton. Oh yeah, also, by the way, if I didn't say that, Chelsea-Palace 1-1. It was pretty silly of me not to say Chelsea-Palace 1-1. That's literally what happened. But yes, Chelsea-Palace 1-1 indeed. And now Arsenal-Brighton also 1-1. Controversial. Very, very controversial. Arguably, Arsenal were robbed because Declan Rice getting a red card, a second yellow, for apparently kicking the ball away and preventing a free kick. Interesting, the ball was rolling anyways, so you couldn't take the free kick. He slightly kicked not even kicked, he just pushed it away a little bit. I mean, look, I've heard people on TalkSport and on various people start saying, well, it's the rules, it's a second yellow card. Yes, I know technically it could be seen as a yellow card, although realistically the ball was rolling, which kind of means you can't take the free kick anyways. But look at that football fan. This guy slightly touched the ball. Veltman walks up, takes him out, kicks him through. Before that, Joao Pedro kicks the ball up in the air, nothing happens. If you're going to bring in these ridiculous rules, like the descent yellow-red card, like the rule about if you ask for a yellow, you get a yellow, or if the rule about waving your hand getting a yellow, or pushing the ball away, kicking the ball away, getting a yellow. If you want to bring in these rules, fine, bring them in, but be consistent. Because what you're doing is just silly. You're bringing in these ridiculous rules that nobody wants. We want to see normal football. We don't want to see these silly cards where players are getting a red card for kicking the ball away a little bit. It's just ridiculous. Come on. The referee should be stepping in and telling both Veltman and Rice, guys, what are you doing? Come on, this is ridiculous. You're just encouraging this culture of trying to get the other team to get a card in the most cheapest and silly ways. It's clear, it's just a little incident. It's not worth to ruin the game by giving away the red card. I don't understand that. As a football fan, my view will always be let football be football and use your common sense. Common sense will always prevail over the law. Just like that Liverpool and Tottenham game last season where the VAR did not tell the referee anything later on because apparently the VAR cannot intervene after the game restarts. Well, congratulations, you made a major mistake, ruined the game, didn't even bother telling the referee. This is not what we want. This is not common sense. This is just silly. But nonetheless, for Arsenal, apart from this red card, there are issues over midfield. Mikel Merino's injured for quite a while. Somehow, Gabriel fell on his shoulder. Now he's fractured his shoulder or something. So this is a problem for Arsenal. And I saw this coming when they finished the transfer window. They sold Emil Smith-Rowe. They loaned out Fabio Vieira. That's 2 midfield outgoings. And you only got Mikel Merino coming in. Now look, I've said this before. Arsenal have got a phenomenal starting 11. But the backup is thin. You can't just rely on Partey, Rice and Odegaard and have 2 backup players in Mikel Merino and Jorginho. That's not enough. If you want to be a proper Premier League team, you need to have the backup. Look at Liverpool. Gravenberch, McAllister, Szoboszlai starting. Jones, Elliott and Endo on the bench. Plus we've also got our own youth talents. Obviously we loaned some out. But we've got some other young players left as well. So that is what I call squad depth. That's why you need that depth. You can't just pray and hope that your players will not get sent off like they did or not get injured like they will. So I think it's poor planning by Arsenal. And now there's a major issue going into the Spurs away game because they're going to have to play Partey, Jorginho and Odegaard, a very lacking midfield without Rice, and have no backup on the bench. So that's a question mark over Arsenal. City, West Ham, City, absolutely, again, what a commanding display by City. 3-1, Haaland scores another hat-trick. It is back-to-back hat-tricks. And let's for 1 second just go back to these Erling Haaland doubters. League 2 striker, Championship striker, he's a tap-in merchant. Guys, come on. He's got 7 goals in 3 games. He's not scoring tap-ins. He scored a goal from outside the box earlier on previously. He scored some great goals this game. He scored fantastic finish into the top corner. Seriously, you can't be saying he's a tap-in merchant. You can't be saying he's got no talent. This guy is a generational striker. He's so clinical. He's so brilliant. His positional awareness is sensational. So you cannot put shade on Erling Haaland's name because that was phenomenal. What a performance. There's no doubt that he's a top talent. Of course, we could ask question marks over City's lack of signings. No backup number 9, only 1 signing, Savinho. Obviously, Gundogan came back and came off the bench. But nonetheless, Manchester City are very strong, top of the league, favourites to win the league again. I think Arsenal have got a lot of work to do to catch up to City's level because City right now are just in cruise control, benching Kyle Walker, having Ilkay Gundogan as a backup option, and you've still got the likes of Jack Grealish, Jeremy Doku, Savinho, Bernardo Silva. It is quite scary. It is indeed scary. And you know what? How are we going to beat these guys? How are we going to beat these guys? It's going to be very, very difficult to beat Man City, isn't it? But apart from these kind of 4 main games I wanted to highlight, obviously we've got other games such as Newcastle scoring a late winner with Alexander Isak, beating Tottenham Hotspur at St. James Park. Again, Spurs conceding chances. That's the problem. They keep on conceding these goals. Defending is just not organised. Perhaps Ange Postecoglou not able to really get Tottenham Hotspur united in defence, you know. Although united and defence are two words that I don't think should be used together after the 3-0. Then Everton, what a disaster. What a disaster. Conceding 3 goals after minute 87. You can't be up 2-0 and then lose 3-2 with less than 10 minutes to go. It's an embarrassment. The fans were all booing Sean Dyche so loud at the very end. It is embarrassing. It is thoroughly embarrassing. No wonder Sean Dyche is now favourites along with Ten Hag 3-1 to get sacked. And Everton, I mean, look, relegation fears, you're bottom of the league. You've been absolutely terrible. You've lost 3-0, you lost 4-0, and now you've lost 3-2. You've conceded 10 goals in 3 games. Seriously, not having Jarrad Branthwaite is so problematic. The back line was stunned. They did not know what to do. I think Michael Keane's clueless. Then Seamus Coleman is way past his prime. Mykolenko is clueless if he hasn't got some good players next to him. And Tarkowski, again, I'm telling you, it's that centre-back partnership. Jarrad Branthwaite, James Tarkowski, top class. The moment you have to resort to Michael Keane is the moment your defence goes from like a 8 out of 10 to like a 5 out of 10 or worse. And no disrespect to Michael Keane, but sometimes players just don't really perform as much. And hence why Everton should have desperately tried to reinforce more of the defensive signings, which they didn't really do. So a big question mark over Dyche. But other than that, it's been an interesting week of Premier League action. Ipswich Town also drawing Fulham. Leicester with another defeat, unfortunately. And Southampton, another defeat, this time by Brentford. Well, look, obviously the flip side being is Southampton aren't really a great team. They won the playoffs and they're now having to confront the massive nature of the Premier League. And to be fair, Brentford is very, very strong. So I would not expect Southampton to beat Brentford anyways. Mbeumo with the double, Wissa scoring another goal. Yeah, I mean, I feel sorry for Southampton. They're going to have to somehow try to turn the season around and find form. It will probably take some time, but I don't know. It looks like the newly promoted teams are really struggling as they find themselves pretty much at the bottom of the table. Crystal Palace in 16th, Leicester in 15th. Wolves are in 18th, really poor from Wolves. I mean, when you give away all your players, when you literally give them all away, I don't know what to expect. Not even the man, the legend, Gary O'Neill himself can prevent that from happening. But this is a ridiculous program. Please, Wolves, explain what are you doing? Selling off all your players. I mean, what are you doing? Max Kilman, Pedro Neto. Before that, you had a massive exodus. Everybody just left. And now it's happening again. So, don't know how they're going to continue like that. But here we are, having finished this review of Game Week 3. It's been a lot of interesting debate, conversation, football fan view. But I wish everyone all the best. Looking forward to more Premier League action after the international break. Come on, England. I hope we do brilliantly. And I hope we will win the World Cup as well. I will also be covering England in the future in due time. But I wish everyone all the best. And I hope you have a fantastic week. And see you soon.